Welcome back to Brighter Morning with Bhoe, and I am Bhoe Tiwari. You are watching on MCTV, Multicultural TV, and listening on U97.5 Hot Like Pepper Radio, Multicultural Radio. I hope you enjoyed that discussion with Dr. Winford James. We didn't get a chance to explore all the issues I wanted to explore, so maybe we'll have him another time. But in the fulfillment of engagement of the independence theme this week, I felt it was important to have a perspective from Tobago because there are so many issues around the relationship between Tobago and Trinidad. And as you know, there is Joint Select Committee report before the Parliament, which probably will be engaged when Parliament formally returns. And there is also the issue of the 6-6 tie in the House of Assembly, which creates a very, very anomalous situation in Tobago. And there is also the issue of pending elections and the role of the Elections of Boundaries Commission in basically proceeding forward, getting to the point when the elections can be held. So there are many, many controversial issues as we approach our 59th year of independence as a nation state, Trinidad and Tobago, and there are some tensions between Tobago and Trinidad as we go forward that are unresolved. So we will keep with that issue because it's important to give our people a voice, and it's important for democracy to have contending voices present their point of view. I hope that one of the things that you've been able to notice from this program is how many people we've been able to interview who are very, very bright and gifted minds, who are contributing to the society, who would like to contribute more, but they are somehow not present in the mainstream of Trinidad and Tobago society. And in a knowledge world, to leave so many gifted, available, bright, conscientious, performing people in their various professions and jurisdictions, to leave all of these people out of the business of contribution to the society is a real problem. And I hope you will understand the implications of that for Trinidad and Tobago. And it also tells us something about the political system under which we operate and the role of political parties in this country and the extent to which political parties make themselves available to the talent pool that is available in the country, or whether they basically shut themselves out from the talent pool and actually leave talented people out of the political system because they are not conformists. So I think these are important questions that we have to talk about if we're going to talk about the independence of the country. And we are going to engage some of those issues. I believe me when I tell you that I am not afraid to raise the issues, and I am not afraid to ask the questions, and I am not afraid to put on the table the issues that I consider important. Until somebody prevents me, I am going to go ahead and do that. And I have done that wherever I have been, whether it has been in the secondary school system as a teacher. I'm talking about my adult life now. Secondary school system as a teacher, at the University of the West Indies as a lecturer, as a person involved in the political arena, and as a person involved at the Institute of Business and at the IOB. I express my views and I challenge the status quo, and I raise the issues that I consider important. There are issues that I have raised nearly 20 years ago internationally that are now coming to the fore as issues of conversations. And when I raised them 20 years ago, people would shy away. They would avoid the conversation on the issue. They would not engage them. One of those issues, for instance, is the issue of, when you talk about trade, investment, financial flows, and development, how can you leave out the migration question and the movement of people question? But that is becoming a big issue in the world today with all these displaced people. It's a very important issue. And sometimes you have to see things before they happen because you cannot avoid them. We have a very, very wonderful guest as our next, he's not on yet, so we'll have to wait a little bit. But we will talk to him. We'll talk to him shortly, and hopefully if we can arrange it, maybe he will play a bit of music for us on his instrument. Are we getting him on? Yeah, okay. All right, so while we wait for him, I want to continue this issue of two things, the Tobago. And I thought that two issues that Dr. James, with whom I've had a long relationship, not just in the University of the West Indies, but outside. He's a man who's been involved in a lot of things, credit union movement. As he himself indicated, he's been writing about this Tobago issue and the Tobago-Trinidad relationship in the nation state for a long time. And moreover, he's been, he's a linguistics person, so language is very important to him, and nuances of language, those things are very important. And he is also an educator. He was involved in the School of Education and trained a lot of people. So he's now retired. About 5 years ago, he told me. I didn't even realize that he had been retired. And therefore, he's a knowledgeable person, and he has a lot of important views. He writes these things in the newspapers, as he himself has said. Okay, so it's important to engage these views and to bring out ideas. Ideas are very important. Ideas travel. They have a way of going. Ideas do not compete. They engage. You have competing points of view, but you don't have competing ideas. All right? The ideas connect with one another. They embellish one another. They evolve. They cause new ideas to flourish. And ideas are very important. And what we're trying to do in this program is that we engage people who have ideas about anything and who have points of view about anything. And we want them to come to the fore and talk with us. Are we getting Ray Holman on the line? 1 minute? All right. Now, well, before he comes on, maybe I could talk to him, talk about him a little bit. Our next guest is Ray Holman. And Ray is one of the most gifted musicians and pannists to ever walk the face of the earth. Not only is he an excellent technical person on the pan, but he is a gifted person in sensibility that he brings with the music on the pan. He plays a double tenor. And he also is a tremendous musical arranger and composer as well. But that is not all that he is. He has been a teacher at Fatima for many years. He has been involved in education. He's a highly conscious citizen about things in the society, very concerned about things in the society. He's not a person who expresses his views always publicly, but he's always a person who has something to say. If you ask him something, he will give you his opinion or his perspective. And he's a very formidable person in that sense. Now, after many years of service to the country and basically sharing his gifts as a musician and as a Pannist with Trinidad and Tobago, the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, is going to honor him with an honorary degree. So next time I talk to Ray, I might have to call him Dr. Ray or Dr. Holman. But he is receiving an honorary degree, and we're so glad for him and so happy for the recognition for him. The other thing that I want to say to you is that Ray is a QRC old boy. He was a little before my time, but he is one of those QRC greats who was what you might call an all-around performer with multiple interests. And we're very, very happy to have him here this morning. Is he on now? Okay, so could we please welcome Mr. Ray Holman, and we'll have a conversation with him. How are you going? Good morning.
Good morning, Bhoe, and to all your listeners. I'm going okay. What about you?
Good. We are on MCTV. That's Multicultural TV. And Ray, it might interest you to know that MCTV is absolutely committed to local and regional programming. He's saying that he's not hearing. All right? Are you hearing me now, Ray?
Hearing you, but I need to hear you a little clearer.
All right. Okay. Help him with
You're
the
very
sound.
faint.
Okay. Adjust your volume on your side, Ray.
Right. It's better now, yes.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So.
Yes, I'm hearing you clearly now.
All right. Very good. So we can have a conversation. First of all, thank you for coming on. We're very, very happy to have you. And we'll have a nice conversation this morning. You and I get along very easily. So we'll have a conversation. Just do like we are talking with each other. I was telling you that MCTV is committed to the culture of Trinidad and Tobago and the Caribbean, and we're very, very committed to that. And we are also committed to creating local programming. For a long time in this country, we would get all our shows from outside, but this station is committed to local programming, and so is the radio station 97.5. So that might interest you. So maybe at some point in time we can have you do a concert on the television. We can work on that, because I mean, you have these concerts in different places and people come to them, but it would be another thing to have it on TV, and whoever wants just has to tune into the television and see what is happening. So let's talk a little bit. The theme this week is independence, and because we are going to celebrate our 59th anniversary, and we're going to celebrate our 60th year of independence next year. And I want you, as a talented musician who has developed as a musician in this country, as a pannist in this country, to talk a little bit about how you see Trinidad and Tobago over the last 59 years. What have we done well or right? Where have we missed the boat? And how do you feel about the fact that we are now 59 years old, especially in the context of this pandemic that has hit us all so hard?
Well, the 59 years, to me, have passed very quickly.
Yeah.
I remember as if it was only last week when that flashed. We have had our ups and downs, to be expected with any country. But I think we have to have a more positive outlook on ourselves as being makers of our destiny. Under colonialism, we were governed, and even our products, as you know the old story, trade and the sugar. We had the raw material here, but we had to send it abroad to be manufactured, and they sold it back to us. So it requires us to be more positive in our outlook about ourselves and about our country. And I think we have kind of fallen down a bit in that. Not that it cannot be remedied, but I think we do not have too much time to go to the leader. And we need people who can take us forward and make the people believe in themselves. You are part of a group, both if I can remember, under the great late. And of his to take charge of your destiny, to look at yourselves and positive light to do it.
Ray, something is happening on your end that we are getting. We getting a kind of staccato with your voice. Go ahead, Ray. You continue to say what you were saying, please.
Okay. Yes. You were saying something and we got into. I was saying that in response to your question about our country, since we have seen independence 59 years ago, that I remember the great Lloyd Best.
My good friend.
Yes? Yes. I remember that the great Lloyd Best, the leader of the Tapia House movement, of which you are a member,
yes, very much so,
always stressed on the fact that we have to be the makers of our own destiny, and we don't have to look outside for somebody to validate us or to do things for us. And I think as I said, we kind of fell down a little bit in that respect. It can be remedied. All we need are forward-looking people and people who have the knowledge and the pride in our country.
Put up a photo of
make decisions that will propel us forward. And as I said, these people will be crucial to our future, seeing that now we need all hands on deck now. We need all the brain power that we have in our society, all the top brains, all the leaders in the various areas of social endeavor, to come forward now and be proactive and not so much reactive. You know, we tend to be a reactive people. We react to things and sometimes knee-jerk reactions, but we need people who have a broad vision and are brave enough and courageous enough to come forward and put this to the people and encourage the citizenry to take charge but that also, the politicians have their part to play in that. They have to try and empower people to feel confident enough to come forward. A lot of people I know, I was a teacher for 3 years at Fatima College, and a lot of my students are reluctant to come forward in the political arena and to help to make decisions for the country because, of all the slander and, the old talk and, denigrating of people's character and so on. So that is another thing that I think we have to work on, to know that dissent is something that is part and parcel of a democracy. People must be free to express their ideas and not be afraid of a backlash or people victimizing them and so on. So we have to grow up. In that respect, I think we have to grow up a lot to know that ideas are there to be explored. And, ideas rule the world, Bhoe, as you know.
Yes, of course,
Ideas rule the world. So people must be able to come and put forward their ideas fearlessly. Ideas that are well thought out and ideas that are given birth to in the interest of the country, promoting the general good, or as we say, the greater good.
Yes.
And I hope that this will be forthcoming in the not too distant future because right now I think we are at the crossroads.
Yes.
This is a crucial stage in our development here.
But tell me what you mean by that, because I think you're saying two things here, which is that first of all, our political system sort of frightens talent away because people don't wish to be abused. All right, so that is one thing.
Yes.
I think the other thing that you're saying is that we have missed the opportunity of empowering our people and giving them the self-confidence that is necessary to be a really independent country. And you are tracing that back to some of the thinking of my friend and colleague Lloyd Bess, and mentor in many ways. And I think that you are also saying that we are coming to the crunch and we might see something happening. Can you explore that a little bit?
Yes. I think that we cannot afford to delay now. The pandemic has put us in a very precarious, the situation was already precarious, and the pandemic has just worsened it. So we are tottering, I would say, on the edge of a precipice. We have to really, really come out and dare. We have to dare to dream.
Yes.
If you have no dreams, you have nothing for the future. So we have to dare to dream and not be afraid if some of our dreams get shattered. Failure is a part of success. When you fail, you dust your pants and you get up and you go again.
Yes.
But failure has overtaken so many of us in the sense that, we are a society that likes to laugh at people. Now, I don't mind laughing at myself, but when somebody's trying to do something and doesn't succeed and you laugh at him, that means he's not going to want to come and make a second attempt. So these little things, and what I see and talking to ex-students and so on, and people all over, I talk to people from the highest to the lowest, and I get this sense that of a reluctance to be derided for failure. And that is something we have to overcome. We have to be more mature. I think this society is still immature in several ways. Mm-hmm. And as I mentioned before, the question of non-acceptance of new ideas and wanting to keep doing the same things and not daring to step out of the box then.
Yeah.
This is a real problem.
When you say we are sort of teetering on the brink, what do you mean, and what will save us from falling over, you think?
Yeah. I think we are on the brink of economic disaster, and it can be averted. We are on the brink of social disorder, which, when the economy fails, people lose all their reason and rationale. The basic instinct is survival.
Yes.
And this is something that I'm seeing as a real threat. As I said, it can be averted by wise leadership and by the society being encouraged to come together and not to divide itself.
Yes.
At the present, just as an onlooker, I find the country terribly divided.
Yes.
And you know the old adage, a house divided against itself cannot stand. So that division has come in large extent from political banter and so on, you know. It's getting worse. So I don't know. I want the bright sparks, the emerge from both of the parties. Let the bright young minds step forward and who really have the interests of the country at heart and not so much the party. Party is important, but the interest of the country must override that narrow self-interest. And I don't know whether, I'm not seeing us heading in that direction. People are calling for it. I read in newspapers and I see people, you know, editorials and other commentators suggesting that it's easier said than done, though. It has to be a considered effort, and we have to be prepared to condemn what is wrong, even if the wrong is being done in our camp. In the two main camps, then.
Yes.
We have a tendency to, because we're in this camp, you know, we don't want to criticize what some of us are doing. And that is something good that we, I don't know, as I said, it's an immaturity. We still, to a large extent, in political infancy, you know.
Yes, I agree with you.
Yes, dissent is a key thing. People have to be free to come out and say what they want. I mean, we're not talking about slander here,
yes.
To come out and say what you think is wrong. And people must, you see, we are not respectful enough. We are a largely disrespectful society when it comes to political life. We think that we can disrespect people with no sanction. I have seen some things on television that I am really disgusted, you know, and alarmed that people could condone such things on both sides.
Yes.
So we have to have a meeting of the minds, and, you know, maybe there should be like an assembly of people, you know, to come and to discuss freely and honestly what is the problem. A lot of us know what the problems are, but some people don't articulate them. They keep them to themselves because they don't want to be viewed as in one camp or another, you're against this person. You see this thing about being against this one and this. Yeah, I mean, grow up, man. We have 15, I just did it, next to be 60 years. We got to grow up and face the world. This is a whole new world, the internet world. We got to face it and make a better effort. All right, I'll give you one example. A friend of mine in Barbados, solar energy is way advanced there.
Yes.
Why is it not here?
They have been at it for about 20 years, more than that, actually.
And what is stopping us from doing things like you know?
Yeah. Well, Ray, you are raising very important issues. You are saying that we are on the brink of economic disaster, but we can avert it. Secondly, you are saying that if we do not manage the economic situation well, we can end up with social disorder.
Yes.
You are also saying, and that is a real danger, you are saying that there is too much division in this society, and that does not serve us well as an independent nation. You are saying the political parties are wanting, and they are too immature, and the leadership is too disrespectful of one another, and that really doesn't help us. And I want to say this to you. The society also needs courageous people. I mean, you are a courageous man. You say what you have to say. You really don't, you're not concerned about what people think or anything. You are going to say your piece because that is what you believe. I am the same way. I might be diplomatic sometimes, but I am not going to avoid saying what I think is the truth. And who vexed, that's their business. But because of the culture of the politics, people are afraid to do that, though. And as you say, there are many, many people of talent who will just not come forward and engage in the public sphere. If you criticize some of the ministers or the government, for instance, you run the risk of being mentioned in the papers the next day, you know, as a form of admonition, you know.
Yes.
What would you like to say anything about that?
Well, I think the press has a great role, the media has a great role to play. You know, as you mentioned, some of our brightest minds, I will put it like this. We have a brain drain, but it's an internal brain drain. It's not that they leave any country to a lot of gone abroad. But here,
They just withdraw.
Here, you know?
Yes.
There's a brain here because some of the brightest minds, you know, we're not making use of them. And I don't know how it can be done, but somebody has to start that movement and encourage people to come forward. And as I say, the media, some of the media are so infantile, you know, and you wonder what people in the media are supposed to have a grasp. They're supposed to have studied. They're supposed to have had a level of education that will afford them to make a sensible contribution. The statements they make should be meaningful and they should be based on fact and not on hearsay and not on what I would and who I like and who I don't like. That the media has a main role to play. And if we do not have the media change in some way to reflect the truth, all that I'm telling you here, what I'm saying here is what I believe is the truth.
Yes.
You can't hide from the truth. The truth is not always a pleasant thing. So we can't hide from it.
Yes.
And what I find we are doing here now, I'm not an economist, I don't have any pretensions to know much, but I think we're burying our heads in the sand and not looking at the reality. And if we, to improve something, you first have to, if you have a problem, you have to admit the problem. We have a problem.
Yes.
Okay. So how are we going
to solve it? Exactly. No, I agree with you. Ray, I want to do something. You might be a little embarrassed about this, but the intention is not to embarrass you. It's just to help people to know you better.
Yes.
Listen, you are a QRC boy. You are a national scholarship winner in the days in which they had 4 and 5 scholarships, not so?
Yes.
I mean, and you did, I mean, you did exceptionally well in your time. It's just that you love Pan. You used to run away from the books and thing in order to go and play some Pan and to be in the Pan yard because this was your love. This is where your affection was. This is where your...
Yeah, that's my split love, you know.
Yeah, that is where your passion was. So, I mean, the things... and you have spent, as you said, about 30 years of your life in teaching and helping young people to find themselves and to grow, young men to find themselves and so on. And you also know the heart of the grassroots, what can I say, community, because you have been in the Pan yards and you know all the people involved in Pan and you know where that Pan comes from in many ways, and you know the meaning of that. So when you talk, I mean, I really think that there's a kind of not just brightness and intellectual power, but there's a kind of wisdom because of the way that you've lived your life, the way you've conducted your business, the way you engage the community, that I think people should listen to. You know, and it's important to do these kinds of things so that people can hear what your views are. And when you say things like the politicians are too disrespectful to each other, that the party system has let us down, that there's too much division in this society, that we are facing economic disaster and we don't want to admit it, that we are headed for social disorder if we are not careful, I think people should pay attention because we have a real problem in the society which you are seeing. And I suspect that what you are doing is not just seeing it intellectually, you are seeing it on the ground.
Definitely. You see it every day.
Yeah.
So, maybe, you know the old, it's a before one, it's a before.
Yes, of course. Let us,
so those who don't hear will feel, you know?
well, let's hope we don't get to that, because there's a
that's what I'm trying to
avoid, yes.
Right. We have to avoid that at all costs. That will set us back years, all the gains that we have made over the time. We don't want to fritter that away like senseless and selfish motives, you know. The society is so selfish.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it's too much greed. Now, greed is at all levels, huh? Greed is not only at the top yet.
Yes, I know.
Greed is at all levels because the top supposed to set the tone. So the small man, as I said, he wants to admire somebody, you know.
Yes, wants somebody to look up to.
Yes, he wants to look up and feel proud about somebody and be able to follow how they live, on their character, on their dealings. You know, people have to be fair. You have to be fair in your dealings. We have to look at Singapore. How did Singapore get where they got? You know, people, we have to work. A lot of people here work very hard, you know, Bhoe.
Yeah, I know that.
I do have a lot of hard-working people here, but are their efforts recognized? Sometimes people want recognition for things. You know, it might be not only financial, but give them that respect and tribute. Oh yes, this person, you know, you're doing so well, you know, and hold them up as examples for young people to follow. A lot of the problem here.
Yeah,
I was speaking to some of the policemen 2 years ago, and they said, this is a difficult thing to solve, you know. The young people, their heroes are the drug lords, gang leaders. Why? Because they see what they have, or they see the bling, fancy car, money to spend, all the girls and so on. And those who want to come up and do the right thing by working hard, they are looking to show for it.
Yeah.
So that drug monster, that crime monster, we have to slay them. And I don't mean literally.
Yeah.
We have to make people realize that if you work hard, you can achieve something.
Yes.
And that crime, the profits of crime, you know, is setting a bad example for the youth. And with our youth is what we have to try to save too. Because they are the ones who will be with us for a long time. So if we have people with us for a long time who all taking the wrong road, what is our future?
Yeah.
It's simply, you know, it's a simple, just look at it simply. What will be our future if the majority of the young people, or a large portion, large segment, will be prepared and are trained to do the wrong thing to succeed? Are we going nowhere? No, we're not going nowhere. We're going down.
No,
that is a key thing to be arrested.
I think you make an important point there, and I want to repeat it, which is that if a large percentage of your young people are choosing the wrong route as the part of success, where is the society headed? And it's an important existential question to ask, and I thank you for raising it. Now, Ray, you are going to be honored by the University of the West Indies. I'm so happy to see that, because you more than deserve it. And you are going to be receiving an honorary doctorate from the University of the West Indies. How do you feel when they called you and told you about that? How did you feel?
Well, you know, I felt a sense of achievement, recognition that, you know, people in my own society could think that I've done enough to earn that sort of recognition. So, and I felt good for myself and for all the people who had supported me over the years, all the people I played music with, all the people in town who had liked my music and supported me, wherever I went, they followed. So that award, I think, is for them as much as it is for me. It's really, I'm fortunate, to get it while I'm still alive. Because many have labored and then posthumously, a posthumous award is pretty good. It's a sad thing in a way that the person, the awardee, and their friends and family never got a chance to really savor it.
Yes, that is true.
I think they would save it more than I would,
Yeah. Well, you and I have to find a way of having a drink on that, eh?
Definitely. You just called me, man. I'm only a phone call away.
All right. Listen, I wonder if as we go to the news,
Yes.
I could get you to play something on your double tenor for us.
Sure.
All right? So we will take a 1 minute break here.
Yes.
And when we come back, you can play.
All right. Very well.
All right.
Thank you, Bhoe. Thank you.
And it's so great to have you here.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me, man. Thank you for considering me worthy of coming on your show.
More than worthy. More than worthy. Always, Ray.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are listening to one of the greatest Pannists in the world playing on his double tenor. God bless our nation. That is Ray Holman, one of the really great Pannists and musicians, and a great patriot of Trinidad and Tobago. As we close the show, this is Brighter Morning with Bhoe on MCTV and U97.5 FM Hot Like Pepper Radio. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for listening. And Ray Holman, we thank you very much for joining us today. We now move to the news with Andrew Chan.